Hi, my name is Ming Chen, and I would put Mongolian beef, sesame oil, and the secret ingredient, a little chili crisp, in my immigrant jam.
Welcome back to Immigrant Jam, the podcast with me, your host, Lucie. Oh, we're back in the house live in New York City, baby. It's a beautiful day. Although there was a thunderstorm, it's okay. Everybody's safe. We're happy. Thank you for listening. Today, we have an amazing guest. Oh my God, I love this man so much. We met many, many years ago at a Comic-Con in Chicago. He is a con knucklehead, self-described, kind knucklehead. He owns, operates, runs, pulls all the strings at the A Shared Universe podcast studio. You know him from Comic Book Men. You know him because if you don't know him, what are you doing with your life? Welcome to Immigrant Jam, the podcast, Mr. Ming Chen.
Wow, what an intro, my friends. What an intro.
Yep. I'll take $50.
Yeah.
Hello. Welcome. Thank you for traveling the seas and the mountain ranges all the way from the great state of New Jersey.
You caught me at a good time. I'm actually home for once. How about that?
That is crazy.
Yes.
You do. You travel every weekend, right?
Pretty
much.
I do. Comic-Cons, my friend.
How many do you do a year?
This year, I did a count. I think I'm going to be almost at 30 this year.
Already this year?
Yeah, I think I'm already up to like 12 or 13, and it's only June.
Oh, okay. Total this year.
Yeah, it'll be total. Okay. Yeah, not all.
Describe to people who don't know what Comic-Cons are, what they are. And I'm also curious how you describe them.
Comic-Cons. To me, the best way I describe it is the best 3-day party of any weekend. Okay. And there's a gathering of nerds, geeks, fans, fandom, anime, pop culture, cosplayers, special guests, artists, and just fans. And actually, the best way for me to describe it is it's a gathering of a bunch of people in a building that I can walk into and not get blank stares anymore when I talk about what I love. That's my best description.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I remember the first year I went to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. There was a comedian there that said he was like in his late 50s or something. He said that he had gone for like 30 years. He goes every year and he's done, like street theater. He's done like big venues, small venues, and he'll go for the rest of his life because, as he put it, it's the 1 month out of the year where we're the normal people and everybody else is the weirdo. And I guess that's kind of what Comic-Cons are too, right? Like everybody else is the weirdo, and the people who are normally considered the weirdos are the normal people.
That's a perfect description for sure. And I just listen. When I was growing up, none of this was cool. These big, Comic-Cons with tens of thousands of people. And it was very isolating.
Did you grow up going to Comic-Cons?
I didn't. I wanted to, but my mom wouldn't take me. She could not fathom the thought that you had to pay an admission price to get into a building where you spend more money. It was purely financial for her.
She's kind of right, though, right?
Yeah.
It is kind of wild. Your parents are from where?
They're from China. They're both Chinese.
And they were born in China or born here?
They were both born in China, grew up in Taiwan, moved there during the Cultural Revolution, and then came to the U.S. for college separately, and they met here in the U.S., so very interesting.
Wow, that's crazy. And ended up in Jersey. Did you grow up in Jersey?
No, I grew up in the Midwest mainly. I moved around a lot, but mainly in the Midwest, Michigan, Indiana. Okay. I moved to Jersey about 21 years ago to work for filmmaker Kevin Smith.
We're going to get to that. Real quick, though, on your family, your upbringing, everything. Did you grow up speaking Chinese?
Well, my parents made a valiant effort to make me speak Chinese, and it didn't work. It's tough growing up in this country with McDonald's, Transformers, cartoons, and just American society, and try to keep your culture.
But did they speak English?
Yes, they did. Yeah, but they tried. They tried to make me go to Chinese school. They tried to bribe me to go to Chinese school. They talked to me mainly in Chinese growing up, but listen, it didn't take. I wanted to be an American kid, so
you didn't want to learn Chinese?
No.
Wow.
No, it just seemed weird and foreign to me, oddly enough. So yeah, it just none of my friends were speaking Chinese, so
So you
it
didn't
was
grow
tough.
up in diverse places. You were kind of the only immigrant kid. Where
Yep,
you
exactly.
Were growing up?
Yeah, a lot of white kids. So I learned a lot, though. I learned a lot from these white kids.
Yeah, like what? Tell us.
Just
Wise man.
Music, pop culture. How to be a nerd, I guess. So yeah, it was good stuff. It was all good stuff for the most part.
The white kids made you into a nerd, you think?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You think if there would have been more diversity, you would have been less nerdy?
I don't know about that. I think foreign kids are also very nerdy as
What
well.
does it mean to be nerdy, though? Because I feel like we say nerd, and at the end of the day, to me, it just means someone was like passionate about something.
You're exactly right.
You know?
So, for a while, geek just meant, you liked comics or you were into sci-fi. But you can be a geek about anything, gardening or podcasting or anything. So I realized that pretty quickly on. And I was like, wait, geek,
why does my brain go to heroin? You can be a heroin geek and then
I've never heard that before.
An addict. No,
I've never heard of it. Not heroin chic, heroin geek.
Heroin geek. I'm not a junkie. I'm a heroin geek.
Yeah, it sounds way better.
Yeah.
The moment I realized that, I was like, oh, this geek's not in. So then you can be a geek for anything.
Right. So the moment you realized that, you felt more free and more confident in yourself?
No. This is funny. The fact I'm talking in a microphone on a mass media format with a pretty girl sitting across from me was unfathomable.
Where?
Stop it. No, I was a very, very shy kid up until, I guess, the end of college. I would have never imagined myself doing anything like this.
So what changed? What happened? I think it's really interesting for people to hear, because I think a lot of people listen to especially this medium. A lot of shy, introverted people listen like podcasts because it's like kind of like a insular experience, right? You don't have to be around other people to experience it.
Yeah, or even as I learned, recording them is a very insulating experience. Like right now, it's me, you, and Jiggy over here.
Yeah, what's up, Jiggy?
We're in a
Jiggy's
cool room
in the house
on in a 6th floor studio in Manhattan. But after this gets released, it's worldwide. It goes to potentially millions of people.
Yeah.
What changed? I don't know. I think working with Kevin definitely helped. That guy injects a lot of confidence in you.
So tell the listeners the story, because I didn't know the story until we just saw each other at the Comic-Con in Alaska we were at together in May, Alaska, which was wild as it is. But then I got a chance to talk to you a little more, because the last time we met was in Chicago and we just went salsa dancing.
Yes.
And didn't talk much.
it was, yeah.
And had a super fun night. But the story of how you and Kevin started working together, I thought was really special. And I really want you to tell the listeners what happened. And then I want to talk about like how life takes you into these like unexpected places sometimes. I think that's so cool.
Yeah. So Kevin, 1994, the movie Clerks comes out. And
I wasn't alive, but...
Wow, really?
No, of course I was alive.
Okay, I don't know your birthday on Wikipedia is true or not.
Don't look on Wikipedia. It's not true. It's all a lie.
And if you've seen Clerks, a lot of dirty jokes shot in black and white in New Jersey. But the main message of the movie is, it's okay to not know what you want to do in life. And that's exactly where I was when I saw it. I was in college. I was working at a dumpy video store at the Student Union and had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. But the movie Clerks came in that day, and I was supposed to check it in so the store could make money and we could rent it out. But I took it home instead and decided to watch it. Somebody had told me it was funny. So I think it was a random customer or something. And at the time I was dating a girl from New Jersey. So I thought at the very least I could watch a movie shot in her hometown and make fun of her. It's like, wow, these weirdos, like, is this really what it's like in Jersey? Like, I don't know. I've never been there. But I saw that movie and I was like, whoa, this movie's awesome. Wasn't much the production value because nothing really happens, but it's the dialogue got me. The way all the characters talked to each other in the movie was very much like me and my friends talked. It wasn't Hollywood dialogue. Like up until then, everything was like, oh my God, we got to go save that planet right now, right away. It was more, it was I think the conversation that got me was the two main characters have a conversation about stormtroopers changing out toilets in the Death Star and whether they knew what they were getting into when they took that job and the risks involved. And ultimately they get blown up because Luke blows up the Death Star and they get killed, and there's a whole debate about that. And I'm like, whoa. Did that really happen? Is that like that? Some dude put this in a real movie? That's crazy. And that's how me and my friends talk. So I became entranced with this movie. All borderline obsessed with it. And it's one of those geek things that you discover that none of your friends have seen. And you're like, this is awesome. And I tried to get all my friends to watch it, and they wouldn't watch it because it was in black and white.
Wow.
In an effort to find other people to talk to about it, I created a fan Clerks website. And this was pretty early on in the ages of the internet. It was 1995, so no Google, no Instagram, no TikTok. I did. I used the modem. I had to dial in and AOL or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Napster, was Napster around
not yet.
already? Not yet.
It was about 2 years before Napster came out.
And floppy disks.
There were still floppy disks. And so I kind of channeled my fandom into building this website. I figured this website kind of reaches worldwide, right? So maybe I could find other fans around the world who had seen this movie. And lo and behold, I started getting emails from people like Colorado and California. It's like, hey, I saw your website. I love that movie, man. Like, wasn't it funny when, they hit each other over the head with like a loaf of bread or whatever, or Chainsaw and Bob? They're really funny, right? I was like, yeah, man. Like, it was kind of like a message board, or it was kind of like a Facebook group before there was any Facebook.
Right.
I found my people.
Yeah.
But one day the ultimate Clerks fan sends me an email. It was Kevin Smith. He was in an internet cafe back when those existed. Crazy. And he said he sat down, and the guy was like, hey, can I help you? It's like, hey, what is this website thing I keep hearing about? I heard. And the guy showed him, was like, hey, do you think there's any based on my movies? Do you think any fans created one? He pulled up mine, and he said he was blown away. So he said immediately he had to contact me. So
what was on the website?
It was basically what I did. I stole a bunch of photos, sound clips, I made tiny movie clips from the movie. It was a fan site.
Right.
It was bios and anything I could find either online or in print.
And it was called like I Love Clerks.
It was just called the Clerks website.
Okay.
And there were actually a couple of them out there already, but I wanted to be the best one. I wanted to blow them all away. So instead of going to class, like $1,000 of tuition wasted, I went to the computer lab instead and poured my heart and soul in this website. And it worked out. Kevin, he emailed me. He was like, hey, all it said was, hey, I saw what you did. Call me. He gave me a number. And it had a 908.
And what was that moment like?
I didn't believe it at first, but it had a 908 area code, the number. I was like, I looked it up, I was like, whoa, that's New Jersey. This could be real. And then there was a moment of hesitation where I was like, okay, he didn't say why I should call him. Is he asking me to take it down? Because I did, technically violate a bunch of copyrights by taking images and stuff that I didn't know and put them online.
Yeah.
It was pretty early on. There were no rules against that. So I was like, well, all right, maybe this is not a good call. I don't know. But in the end, I was like, you know what? Screw it. At the very least, I get to talk to him once. So I ended up calling that number, and he picked up. He's like, hey, man. I was like, okay, that's good. He sounds happy. And then he continues like, hey, I love what you did. I really love what you did. This internet thing looks like it's going to take off. Can you do more of these website things for me? I specifically, he wanted to build a site where his fans could gather and he could interact with them. And that first day he was like, hey, I have a whole list of things I want planned out already. I'm going to send it to you. Is this something you can do? And he sent it to me. I'm like, this is one, yes. Two, I'd be honored to. To me at that point, it was, I'm a big Star Wars nut. So it would be like if George Lucas or Steven Spielberg hit me up and they're like, hey, we want you to work with us. That's, in my eyes, that's how big Kevin Smith was to me at that point. So.
And you were at a point in your life where you were going to college and you didn't know what you wanted to do.
Yeah, no clue.
Yeah.
No clue. So this.
But you knew you liked computer stuff. Obviously, you were good at it, right?
I did, but at the time, like if you were good with computers, you became a programmer. I tried that. I was horrible at it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is the thing. Like if you're missing a period, the whole thing goes to hell. Like I've got too much ADHD to figure that out. I wanted something where I could just put something up immediately and have it be like content, and that's what that ended up being.
Did your parents? Was there any pressure from your parents to become a certain thing?
Oh yeah.
did they
Welcome
want you
to
to
Asian
become?
parents.
Right, exactly.
Doctor, lawyer,
Yeah.
something with an extended degree. Something with a little juice, I guess.
Yeah.
In especially in the Asian community, but engineer would have sufficed. My dad's an engineer. Anything that would have required
Proper job.
maybe something that would have required a graduate degree or extended schooling. Yeah, they're really into school for some reason, I guess.
Education.
Yeah, education equals
Used
success.
to be cool. Yeah.
But
They're like, for some reason, the school thing is cool to them.
yeah, I think it's funny now. I get invited to a lot of schools for like career day, or they want me to motivate kids, right? But basically the first thing I do is I go in there. I was like, hey, so when I grew up, everyone asked me what I wanted to do, and I answered honestly. I was like, I want to read comic books, I want to collect toys, and I want to play video games for the rest of my life. And that's kind of what I'm telling you now. Like, if that's what you want to do, you should. If that's what you love, that's what you should do it. And I can kind I the teachers like, oh man,
We
come
shouldn't
on,
have had
can't
this guy
he?
here.
Yeah. I was like, oh boy, what did we just do? I mean, basically the message and the thing that worked out for me is just whatever you're passionate doing,
Right.
keep doing it. And I tell the kids, as we know now, loving pop culture and playing video games can be a very lucrative
Now, yes.
thing right now.
But when you were doing it, that
No.
was brave. But I guess you didn't know you were being brave because you were just doing it.
I just got so sick of that question
Right.
that I decided to just answer it honestly. And
So then you started working like full time for Kevin?
no, not right away. So when he sent me that email, I was in my junior year of college.
Yeah.
No idea what I wanted to do, but building websites started taking off. At first, it was just kind of a fun thing to do, but then slowly I started learning like companies will pay you to put up these websites, and then later on, it became a salaried full-time position. It got to a point where every business, every entity needed a website. So I was very lucky to get into it that early. And so at that point I was like, I gotta get out of this college. And I remember going to the guidance counselor and I was like, hey, what's the quickest way to get out of here? If you look at which class I've taken so far, how do I get out of here in time? And he looks like, hey, you get a degree in communications. You only need to
But
take.
you wanted to get a degree. You didn't want to just drop out.
No.
Right.
Oh no,
Because of your parents.
I would have been disowned,
Yeah.
and then put to death. Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There was no way that was happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. After that much sacrifice and all the expectation, yeah, there's no way I was getting out of there without a piece of paper. So, but I was all right. Communications is related to websites. Those are communications.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's a valid degree. It's not like one of those BS degrees like kinesiology or philosophy or like art history. Like it's
Yeah.
that actually looks somewhat valid on a transcript. So
All you losers wasting your lives
Yeah.
with philosophy or art history.
yeah, am I knocking those professions? Not exactly. I am making fun of them though. And I was like, building websites kind of relates to communication. So
Yeah,
so I
of
took the
course.
classes he told me to, and I graduated and I got a full-time job literally 2 weeks later. So, which now is probably not that easy to get a job out of college. So
Now it's probably easier to just play video games and put a camera on you and make money that way.
yeah, exactly. So I didn't work for Kevin right away.
Right.
He was still very early in his career, and I don't know if he had the means to hire on somebody full time, especially in a technology that was unproven, in a format that was unproven. So I went and got a real job, but I would work. I would do his stuff on the side. So I would toil away at the day job, which I wasn't really passionate about. It was something I was decent at, but by night I would work on his stuff, and that I loved that. I loved all the stuff he wanted me to do for him. So I tell kids, I'm like, listen, you might not get hired in what you want to do right away. You might have to go get a job doing something you don't like right away. But just take the time afterwards to work on what you love. I actually think that was a good way to go about it. So when I worked at the day job, didn't really care about it. I spent the whole time counting the hours when I go home and work on Kevin's stuff, the stuff I really wanted to do. And I appreciated it way more. I think I put way more work into Kevin's stuff just because I was like, all right, not everybody gets this time to do what they really want to do.
Were you hoping that would lead to something full-time, or were you just doing
eventually,
it?
Eventually. It was in the back of my mind. It wasn't really a goal per se. I was just having so much fun working on Kevin's stuff that I didn't even really think about the long term. I'm actually pretty bad at that. I don't, I'm one of those guys who just lives, week to week or whatever. Like, whatever.
Isn't that the goal? Isn't that what meditating is about? Isn't that what everybody's
be in the moment?
To be to be present. That's what it's all about.
Yeah,
right?
every so often I was like, man, what am I going to do when I'm 85? And did I is my 401k up to snuff, or do I have an IRA? What do I do? Like, that's tough to think about that far ahead. So it wasn't a goal per se, but of course you're like, hey, maybe I'll get hired full time one day. It took everything took a weird path. I had a day job. I was a contractor for the government for a few years. Lived in DC, and then in 2000. I got hired by a startup that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon had founded, a company called Live Planet.
So funny.
For anyone who's watched the TV show Project Greenlight, that was something they launched. That was something I worked on in the early 2000s. So I actually moved to LA for a year.
And worked on in what capacity?
I was doing websites,
Okay.
so in a technical, button pressing, sitting behind a monitor capacity, and that was supposed to go long term. That was supposed to make us all rich, as all internet startups promise you. But that was right before the tech bubble burst, and then 9/11 happened. So that only lasted a year.
Wait, why did 9/11 end?
They had a bunch of projects that they were working on. Basically, they were working on a TV show where strangers were supposed to chase each other around the country looking for clues and prizes. And in a post 9/11 world, with hidden packages and just random people running around, that wasn't going to fly. So they lost most of their startup funding because that project got
They had this project about people flying planes into buildings.
Yeah. So that all ended. But to Kevin's credit, the day after it all ended, he called me. He was like, "Hey, I know you're in LA, but do you want to come work full time?" I was like, "Really? Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, I think you not only have you earned it, but I think this is how it was meant to be." And at that point, I've been working with him on the side for about 6 years. So, and we launched a lot of cool stuff together. Put up his first online store, multiple online and in-person events. So it was really cool, kind of what we had built. And at that point, I had no other avenues. Plus, it was something I'd wanted for years. So,
and then you told me in Alaska, all of a sudden he was like, "Oh, I sold a reality TV show, and you're in it." And you were like, "I'm not an actor. I can't be in it."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was 2011. I remember he sent me a text. He's like, "Hey, this is gonna sound really weird, but that TV station that has the Walking Dead?" I'm like, yeah, I love that show. He's like, well, they want to do a show set in my comic book shop called Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. I'm like, that's awesome, man. That store's awesome. You'll be great on it. Obviously, they want you on it. He's like, no, you don't understand. They want you and the other guys on it too. The other guys who work there. I'm like,
so that means he pitched this idea without you knowing, right?
He's good at that.
He probably did that because he knew you would say no.
Knows I don't have ever said no to him. So he knew that.
If he would have told you he's pitching a show that you're in, would you have been like, okay, go for it?
Yeah, I'm pretty open.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, sure, why not? But but once he said that, once he told me that this might be a thing, I brushed it off because at the time he was smoking a lot of weed. So I went dude, what strain are you on? Because I want that strain. Because this is the weirdest thing you've ever said to me.
That's so
a reality show with, the 4 guys who work at the store, who have little to no experience acting in front of a camera. One of the guys barely watches TV. The other guy just presses buttons. He's your tech guy. Like this isn't how it works, is it? And they don't put guys like me on TV. We're like, old short Asian dudes. Like, this is ridiculous. So I brushed it off, but Yeah, lo and behold, a month later, they sent in a small crew to shoot like a pilot episode. And even after that, I was like, all right, that was weird, but no one's going to buy this. And yeah, lo and behold, I get another text from Kevin, was like, hey, congrats. Like they picked up 6 episodes. Like this is going to be a real TV show. Like they loved the pilot thing that they cut together. Congratulations. And I was like, what the hell? So I had a lot of doubts. I was like, hey, so, at any point they can just remove me, right? If I suck. And I remember Walt, one of the guys on the show with me, he's like, you're not, they need you. They need what you're bringing. I'm like, what am I bringing? He's like, listen, you need to be the guy, much like in real life, that doesn't say no, that's up for anything, and as such, we're gonna make fun of you for it, like we do in real life. And if you watch the show, that's exactly what happens. So, yeah, I had a lot of doubt, but it ended up working out. So.
But where do you think that comes from? That because a lot of people would have been too scared to do that, right?
Yeah,
a lot of people would have.
Let
fear stop them.
It's the Kevin Smith effect.
Is it?
When you work for someone like Kevin, you do whatever he asks. You do whatever he wants you to. So if he was like, hey, I want you tomorrow, can you cure cancer and build like a rocket ship that runs on water that will take us to the moon, I would probably figure out some way to do it.
But you're giving him so much credit, but you should give yourself credit because, okay, he could say that, but if he said that to me, I'd be like, cool, Kevin Smith, I cannot do that. But you are the type of person who's like, okay, I'll figure out how to do that. So
yeah, I guess I'll give myself a little credit, but without him.
Where do you think that comes from, though, that you're like that?
I think, one, I don't like to disappoint people. And two,
now we're getting back to the immigrant parents.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, conversely, I like to, if I can, I like to at least try to impress people as much as I can. So it's a combination of that.
Is that, I mean, I think that, that's like something that a lot of comedians have too, right? This like, I don't know, like the overarching name for that is like people pleasing, I guess,
yeah,
right?
big time.
And that, I think, comes from being an outsider as a kid or not fitting in or, so you want to impress people, you want to make people laugh because that's a way to get love or acceptance or whatever. And I feel like a lot of immigrant kids have that because you like inadvertently are this outsider because your parents are weird and different and have accents and speak a different language and you're like between these two cultures. Yeah. And you're bridging that at home. You're living one culture and then out. You know what I mean?
Yep. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I think that's so interesting. But I think it's so cool how like I was thinking about you and I was thinking about, this story that you just told and that you told me in Alaska and how, some people like push for stuff and like go after a goal and, really try really hard for something. Yeah. And then there's people like you who are like, and then I just walked into this thing.
And the camera started rolling and then,
exactly.
97 episodes later, like it just happened.
It feels like all of that found you. Instead of you going to it, right? It
feels very much like that, yeah, for sure. But I guess, and again, I tell this to the kids at Career Day. It's like if you follow what you love, like weird things will happen. So, as it did to me. So, but yeah, I had no desire to be in front of a camera. I had no desire to be behind a microphone. I would have been fine sitting in a dark room, editing clips together, or pressing buttons, or connecting wires. And but it is fun in front of the camera. It's fun behind a microphone. So now I try to do both.
So there was this little curiosity that was driving you to like find out what those things are like, right?
Oh,
somehow,
sure, yeah.
Somewhere you did maybe like subconsciously want to know and want to get there.
Yeah, but sometimes it's good to have somebody else push you toward that.
Right.
I don't think I would have happened upon either of those by myself. Yeah.
Yeah. And so now, do you now have those types of goals, or do you still live your life this way, where you're like, I'm just going to let the things take me wherever I need to go?
It seems to be working out so far, right? I know you can't always count on blind luck and waiting for things to happen, but it's worked out so far, right? So I don't know. I just kind of do what I love right now still and hope good things happen. And
did you ever have a time where you were like stressed out about like money and knowing what you need to do and stuff?
every day, even still.
Okay,
even
so
still.
you are an earthly human.
Oh yeah. No, I don't think I'm just gonna fall into a pool full of money or anything like that.
Hey,
and
if it'll happen to anyone, it'll happen to you.
I hope you're with me. You're right next to me. Then
I hope so
when
too.
we fall in that pool of money.
I will never leave your side from now on.
That would be amazing.
That's
then.
a promise.
That would be amazing. I mean, I guess my goal now is after the show ended, I was like, well, what do I do now? I could keep doing what I was doing before, which was kind of doing stuff for Kevin and doing stuff for the store. I was like, well, what do I really want to do? And I took a page out of his book where he's constantly telling people, like, whatever you love doing, go find a way to do it, no matter how weird or crazy it is. And I was like, well, I love this. I love podcasting. I love that there are no rules in this format. I love that you could create your own show and take it whatever direction you want and book your own guests or you could just sit down with your friend and BS for 3 hours, and and it counts as a show.
Yeah,
I love that, and it was growing at a pretty rapid rate at the time, and I was like, well, how do I turn this into something I can possibly live off of, or maybe start a company and sell it one day or something, and I was like, well. There's no place where people can just go and record episodes. At the time, most people were doing it in their kitchens or their basements, and it was pretty painfully obvious that that's where they were doing it because the sound quality wasn't that great, and it was echoey. And I was like, what if there was like a studio or a classroom or something that we could build? And about 5 years ago, we just decided to do it. Rent a small, cheap office space. I had all the gear already, and launched something called the Shared Universe, which a place where people can come and launch their podcasts and record weekly and have a fun, safe space to do it in. The origin of the name is twofold. One, in the comic books, the heroes and villains are always sharing their universes. So, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles might wind up in Gotham because Batman needs help in the sewers or something, or or Captain America might go help out Batman or whatever. So we're big comic book nerds. But secondly, in our space, people of all subject matters and ideas come in. So the real estate law guy might come in one day, the cannabis advocacy guys might come in the other. The ladies who love talking sports might come after. So it's everybody's universe is gathered into one. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool.
And then how long ago did you start doing Comic-Cons?
I started in 2014, so almost 10 years ago.
Almost 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, you got to tell us your wildest Comic-Con story or favorite Comic-Con story. Do you have one?
I'll tell you the one from when we started. So we got invited to a con up in North Jersey, and I'd been to cons, but we'd never been behind a table. And it was so early on. The show was still on, but the fact that people would pay for a selfie or an autograph was so far-fetched and absurd. So, you know how it works with us. We go and we get a table, right?
Right.
And we're supposed to sign and take selfies for the whole weekend. And, there's a small fee attached to that. That's kind of how we make our money during that time. We didn't bring anything. No 8x10s. No, we had no banner. And we weren't even charging. And I remember we sat down, we were next to Adam West from Batman.
Yeah.
And Kelly Hu from, she was in the second X-Men.
Okay.
She's in a bunch of stuff. And I remember, they're con veterans. They've been doing this for years. I remember them looking over at us like, where's your stuff? Where your stills, your 8x10, so you can sign them for people. What are you guys charging? Like, what's going on? We're like, what are you talking about? They're like, what are you doing here if you're not selling anything? We're like, oh, we're just here to kind of hang out. And they're shaking their head. They're like, who are these guys? Who are these idiots? Like, what are they doing here?
The first con I ever did was I was on this British show called Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard it?
No, I know.
It's like huge over there.
Yeah.
And they have their own like Red Dwarf cons. And they invited me to one and they were like, we'll fly you out from New York. It's in Nottingham, and we'll pay you £500, and you sign for free the whole weekend. I was like, "Oh my god,
what a great...
£500! awesome. All I have to do is sign all weekend and I'm getting an economy flight. I was like so humble back then. And then I signed for free all weekend. I hugged everybody. I got so sick after that weekend. Obviously, I hugged everybody. I shook everybody's hand. I didn't wash my hands. I was like so tired. I thought this was the most amazing thing ever. And then the first Overwatch con I did was MomoCon.
Yeah.
And it was insane. It was hundreds and hundreds of people. And I went up to my hotel room and I just cried for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
One of my favorite experiences was in Vegas. This family came up to my table with a tiny baby, like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Hi, would you sign his onesie?" And I thought they were going to take out a onesie and put it on the table.
Yeah.
They just laid the baby on the table.
It's funny you mentioned that. I signed a baby as well.
You signed a baby too?
We
Oh
were
my
asked to
God.
sign a baby and we signed the onesie, but it was on the baby.
Yes,
so,
on the baby. Maybe it was the same baby.
It might have been.
Maybe these people are obsessed with getting their baby signed.
Probably.
But wild things happen at Comic Cons. And also, I think it's amazing that it's this whole like unknown world. A lot of people, like people that aren't in the nerd world, don't know what Comic Cons are at all. My mother still, after all these years, I've been doing Comic Cons for 7 years now, and she still thinks they're on a field outside.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And when I
have
go
they-
somewhere cold, she's like, "Are you going to be okay?" I'm like,
Yeah.
"They're not outside."
Have they been with you to a con?
No, they actually have never come to
man.
a con. I feel like my dad would have his own table within 2 minutes and people would be wanting his autograph. Have your parents been?
They have, yeah. They've come
Really?
a couple times.
So
and,
now, do they approve of everything you do? And,
No.
And okay.
No, still doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. But yeah, my mom's like, "Why are people paying you for your autograph?" I'm like, "Wow, that's just how it works." And I'm not charging $1 million or anything, but yeah, even to her, she's like, "This is why."
So when you were on TV in the reality TV show, that they weren't proud?
The only time I heard of my mom being proud, she was on a flight and they had the in-screen TVs, and I guess a guy pulled up Comic Book Man, and my mom was like, "Hey, that's my son's on this." It was the episode where I lose a bet and I have to get married to one of my co-stars. And as Reed Richards and Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four, we had to reenact the historic wedding between the two in a comic book. And guess who had to be Sue Storm? So I had a blonde wig, I wore a skirt, fake eyelashes, and blue lipstick.
Nice.
And I don't know if she so proud after that, but
There was no comment. She didn't say what she felt about that?
I don't think she was nudging the guy. I was like, "Hey, that's my kid."
She's like, "That's not my. Sorry, I made a mistake. That's
Yeah,
not my son.
I'm pretty sure
Not my
my-
son. Don't know that guy."
I think my dad was on that flight too, and he was like, "Oh, what have we done? What have we done? Why didn't we push him more?"
Why did we come to America?
Yeah.
America ruined our child.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, I still don't know if they get what I do, which is fine. But I think they know I'm in Jersey. I think they think I'm in the mob. You got Kevin. He's kind of like a kingpin, right? He's kind of like a Tony Soprano of like the Jersey film world. Yeah, I think they pretty much think I'm in the mob.
It does get kind of nuts. Before the pandemic, I was doing a Comic-Con almost every weekend.
Yeah.
And it sounds very glamorous, but it's tough, isn't it?
I love it so much that I do want to be out every weekend. To me, yeah, I went when I was a kid, so I saw what they were, just kind of little church basement cons,
Yeah.
to what they are now, filling up entire convention centers. And I love it. I think it's a weird traveling circus where pretty much every week I get to see friends from around the world, because either they're working these things or they're fellow guests. And yeah, it's an adventure. It's a party every weekend. So I'm sure one day it will catch up to me. But you see how I go. It's just fun. I love
party.
it. I love it so
You
much.
do party.
Yeah, it's part of the. I think a lot of it has to do with not getting invited to parties when I was in high school or college.
Right.
To now, people are like, "Hey, will you come?" And
you're the VIP.
yeah,
Yeah, right.
we'll pick you up at the airport. We'll fly you out. We'll put you in a hotel. Like, yeah, of course. I'm going to do that. And you get to go to a cool city that you haven't been to before, and find all the cool stuff there.
All the cool strip clubs.
Yeah. Yeah, restaurants, dive bars, cocktails, hole in the walls. Yeah.
Yeah. Or in Alaska, you took a helicopter onto a glacier and went dog sledding.
Yeah, because why not, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, YOLO.
YOLO.
You
Yeah.
think that's what, like, is that what you would get tattooed on your butt cheeks. I don't know.
YOLO, like yo on two and low on the other.
Yeah.
Sure.
Is that like your life motto, do you think?
Yeah, I guess so.
A little bit?
Yeah, maybe not that term. That term's kind of outdated now, but yeah,
What's the new term? Is there a new term or do Gen Z doesn't YOLO?
You're asking the wrong guy.
Does
I'm
Gen
so
Z YOLO?
old.
Comment.
I'm so
Put it in the
old.
comments, fam.
I think I realized very quickly that life is very short. So do everything. Do
you
everything.
think you have any Chinese values or any? Do you feel like that culture is still part of
Oh
you,
yeah,
even
for
though
sure.
you don't speak the language?
I think first and foremost, if you're Chinese or Asian, for that matter, you're raised to eat everything.
Oh,
So
interesting.
yeah, which I
Really?
think you've seen how I eat, right? Either online or in person. Yeah, I'll put anything in my mouth. So
Really?
yeah, pretty much.
Okay,
pretty much.
so what's the
But-
most insane thing you've eaten, would you say?
Like I've drank snake blood in Taipei. Yeah,
Yeah.
fish eyes, snails, like all kinds of weird
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
Yeah, 1,000-year-old eggs, like all this weird Asian stuff.
Yeah.
I've eaten, but I think I think it makes you a better person. I think it makes you more open.
What, eating everything?
Yeah, it's kind of a litmus test. It's like, hey, you see,
What
what
about
you're.
bugs? Have you eaten bugs?
I've had to do grasshoppers and here and there. Not my favorite.
Here and there. I
Not
love
my-
that.
not
You're
my
like,
favorite.
You know, when I don't have anything in the fridge, I'll eat a grasshopper.
Yeah, grasshopper taco here and there. Sure, why not? Why not? But that, and I think Asians are generally very, very respectful, very courteous. Want to please everybody. We have that mentality. It's like, if we find out you want something, we'll try to get it for you, within reason. Or if there's something I have, it's like, hey, that's a nice. It's a nice coffee mug. He's like, here, you want it? Just take it. I'll get another one. If you like it that much, and every time you use it, you'll think of me. Take it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not very American. That's true.
Yeah. And I think in general, I think Asian people have a better time of just letting stupid stuff go.
Really?
I think we're less angry people
Oh,
compared
interesting.
to everybody else. So
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that.
really,
That's so cool.
Or maybe that's just me in old age. Like I just don't care anymore. Like if you cut me up in traffic, big deal. You're probably gonna get in an accident later on because you're such a bad driver. Like I'll let
I
karma.
love that you're
right?
like, big deal. I curse you for life.
Right. Like, how does that help me to get angry about it? Like it does. I'm just wasting my breath at that point. So
That's true.
Yeah. So my friends who fly off the handle, I just laugh at them. I just laugh at them. It's like, well, why are you so mad? It's not changing anything. You're just wasting your energy. Yeah. And you're angry. Like it's no fun to be angry. Just let it go. Just let it go.
In the words of Frozen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Yes. And
Let
it worked out for them.
It worked out great for them.
Yeah.
I mean, look at those two princesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're doing great. Sell a lot of merchandise. Everybody loves them.
So what's the secret to happiness then? Being Asian?
Partially, sure, sure. Yeah, I think it's just kind of following what you love. Also, though, once you find that thing that you love, you gotta tell everybody else about it. You gotta share it.
Oh,
you have
really?
to share it. Yeah, for sure.
What do you mean? Why?
So,
to put it out into the universe?
yes, I think it's just more fun. So, if I find a cool strip club in Alaska, I don't want to go by myself. I want to tell everybody else that I'm with.
Yeah, full disclosure, we did go to a strip club in Alaska together. Ming was like, you got to come to the strip club. I was like, I hate strip clubs. I've only been to one. It makes me sad and depressed. He was like, no, you got to come to this one. We went to the
Great Alaskan Bush Company
Great Alaskan Bush Company
in Anchorage, Alaska.
in Anchorage, Alaska. It was an experience.
Yes.
I told my friend about it and I said that because I don't really drink. And he was like, so were you drunk? And I was like, no, I was drinking water. And he was like, that's probably the most offensive thing I've ever heard in my life, going to a strip club sober.
I don't know if it's offensive, but you go in whatever state you want to. Just tip the ladies.
But
That's
it was an amazing experience. It was.
It looked like a giant saloon in there, and
Yeah.
I've been to many. Like anything else, a lot of them are not that great. Probably like
Right.
the first one you went to, and some of them you'll write tales about and go home and regale your friends about
Right.
what a cool place it was, and that was one of them.
So that's the secret. If you love something, tell everybody about it to
Yeah.
put it out into the universe.
I think that's what we as geeks do. We discover a cool new TV show or or movie or comic book. we want to be the first one to discover it, and then two, we want to be the guy where everybody else is like, oh yeah, that show, yeah, Ming told me about it.
Right.
Like, yeah.
But I think also the thing that I take away from your story is that like whatever you're obsessed with, and as much as you may feel like an outsider, there's going to be other people. You will find your people if you put yourself out there.
Yep, exactly.
If you don't put yourself out there, you won't, right?
Yeah.
Then you'll just be isolated. But if you do, you will find the people that connect to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are not alone.
Yeah.
You are not alone. Did you grow up with any sayings or proverbs or expressions, Chinese ones, as a kid?
No, not really.
Nothing?
I grew up with my mom yelling at me. Does that count as a proverb?
Yes.
Yeah. She's good at that. It's funny. My parents, they're a little older now, but so everyone's like, how are your parents? I'm like, well, I called my mom. She yelled at me, so everything's okay. So that's how I know. That's how I know things are.
What does she yell at you about?
Just, my direction in life. She doesn't like me traveling so much.
All right, Ming. Well, we have come to the point in this podcast where we must
Yes.
play the poll question.
Okay, do it.
Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay.
Ming Chen, if you were the president of the United States of America, what American food would you ban?
Probably American cheese. I eat it, but it's an abomination. It's all full of chemicals, and there's so many other great cheeses in the world. I mean, it's uniquely American, where it's just not that great.
Okay, if you could deport one American person, who would you deport?
I'm sure I was trying to go probably Carrot Top.
What?
Yeah.
Whoa, you're the second person to say
Am
that.
I?
Yes.
I don't know. He's not. He's probably a great guy. I've never met him, but God, his transformation was really weird. I think he might not even be human.
If you had to come up with a catchphrase for the United States of America, what would it be?
No, I'm probably like, can't someone else do it? I stole that one from The Simpsons, but yeah, seems like they're like we don't want to do this. Can somebody else do it? And that kind of seems. I think that's how this country runs for the most part.
That's true. If you could add one amendment to the U.S. Constitution, what would you add?
Oh man, can we make last call in every city in America 4 or 5 a.m.? Because it's just 2 a.m. is too early. I know we're here in New York. It's 4 a.m. It works great here.
What's the most American thing you've ever done?
That's a great question. I played Little League. Is that American?
That's super American, yes.
Is that American?
Baseball.
Yeah, baseball.
Most American thing ever.
I got into a White Castle eating contest.
What? You buried the lead.
Yeah, me versus Brian Quinn from Impractical Jokers. And I mean, technically he won. I think he ate 13 in 10 minutes, but he puked afterwards. So did he win? Did he win?
Gross.
I say no.
How many did you eat?
I ate like 9.
9?
I ate like 9 in 10 minutes.
Burgers.
So, like White Castle. Yeah, the little ones. The little
the small
disgusting ones. The ones that taste like a fart, yes. Yeah, he ate 13 because he wanted to win so bad, but he immediately he yacked them all out when he was done. And I'm like, dude, I'm so glad I'm not you.
What's the most Chinese thing you've ever done?
Ooh, man. Probably go to, I went to Taiwan once. Real quick, there's a program out there, government funded by the Taiwanese government, to take American-born Chinese kids between the ages of 19 and 23 and send them overseas for 2 months for cultural lessons. Yes.
It's like Birthright.
Sort of, yeah. So I got sucked into that one year, and it was fun. It was awesome. Supposedly you're supposed to learn Chinese lessons by day, then go on tours of museums and sightseeing in the afternoon, and then at night you're just supposed to stay on the campus. But it was a mass exodus. They had a bed check and everything. Can you imagine being 21 and like there's like a counselor checking your bed?
Oh my God.
But after that, everyone just hopped the fence and went out drinking all night.
Well, I think this is the last question.
Okay.
Then, do you know how I can meet David Hasselhoff?
I think if you get a bunch of booze and some hamburgers.
Oh no! Don't go there, Ming. Okay.
Everyone's seen the famous David Hasselhoff drunk eating a hamburger,
It is.
and at the time it was scandalous, right? But how many of us have not done that before? I was doing it last week in Brooklyn,
But not in front of your daughter. That's why it was scandalous. Because his daughter was filming it.
Yes, but it wasn't like he was driving at the time, like weaving in and out of traffic, going, "Don't do this, kids." I mean, yes, it's embarrassing. Honestly, what parent hasn't seen their parent, a little tipsy, right?
No, I mean,
Right?
I definitely
Yeah.
saw my dad drunk a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but yeah, I feel like yeah, if you leave a trailer of hamburgers and vodka, he'll come. He'll come.
The best answer ever.
Yeah, but I was thinking about this. I don't think he's ever done a Comic-Con before.
He has, I think.
He has.
I think he has.
Okay, so this could be a thing. We could be in a green room with him.
Oh my God.
And then
I would shit in my pants.
wow.
Shit my pants.
Okay, I'll be ready to clean it up then. I would love to meet him too, just not as bad as you. But listen,
Okay, we'll do this.
I'm a Knight Rider fan just like anybody else.
Ming, where can people find you online?
I am at Ming Chen 37, MINGCHEN 37, and check out A Shared Universe, ashareduniverse.com. If you want to have as much fun as me and Lucie did today, I can show you how to do it. We got studios, we teach online.
Oh, cool.
Like I said, I found something I love. I want to share it with everybody else. And,
I love that.
That's podcasting, my friends.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Or come and find you at a Comic-Con near you.
Yeah,
Because Ming is on the road every weekend.
Yeah,
Chances are you're in
somewhere. Yeah,
people's cities.
I think my favorite saying is, if you can't come to us here in Jersey, I'll come to you.
Yeah. I love that. Follow Ming. Check out a shared universe. Go see him at Comic-Cons. Leave a trail of strippers and booze, and Ming will come.
Hey-oh.
Thank you so much for listening today. Please, 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 if you love us as much as we love you, check out the Patreon. There are extras on there. Early access to episodes. Cool stuff happens on there. It's a fun little community, and it's growing. Shout out to JT, to Gio, to Craig, to Douchebag Steve.
Oh, Douchebag Steve.
Douchebag Steve and Wesley too. Check out, shout out to Martin. And leave us a little 5-star review, a rating, all that good stuff. It helps a lot. Thank you to Mr. Jiggy.
Woo.
Best producer in the biz. OMG. Check him out too.
Love that guy.
He's the best. What's your Instagram, Jiggy? Jiggy Comedy, such a funny man and has so many other talents as well. Check him out. Check out everything he does. He travels the country a lot too. And that's it. Be happy, be free, do what you love. We love you. Love is the answer. Goodbye.